called Recipe for Curing Meat, and it sort of, in my head, goes with the other one. It would never go in your head together, but in my head it does. Recipe for Curing Meat. Ingredients: 1 middle-aged body, pre-seasoned. 1 small polyp, free range. 1 4-ounce plastic and titanium chemo port. 2 liters sublethal chemicals. Oxycodone. Remove polyp from inside cavity. Note number of unusual cells. Discard. Draw blood. Strip body. Slice open chest and insert chemo port. Run tube from port to heart. Sew incision. Oxycodone to taste. Draw blood, scan. Arrange body in pan to marinate, using the chemo port infused with sublethal chemicals. Season liberally with anti-nausea medications. Body should lose up to 20% of its original weight. When internal temperature reaches 101, baste with antibiotics. Draw blood. Using indelible ink, draw designs on thighs and abdomen. Return to pan. Microwave for 12 minutes on high. Repeat 28 times over a period of 6 weeks. Skin may burn and fall off in sheets. Correct seasonings with oxycodone. Draw blood, scan. Shave head to remove any stray hairs. Draw blood, count white blood cells. Baste with antibiotics. Scan as needed. Return to pan and sear both sides every few weeks until thoroughly done. To serve. Slice open chest. Remove chemo port. Discard. Remove from pan and garnish with remaining oxycodone. Allow body to rest for 15 minutes. Check cavity for polyps. Note number of unusual cells. Correct for seasonings. Discard. And it's a longer piece of flash fiction, still under 1,000 words, is called When You Are Done Being Happy. I've got to say, I should have said this before, Recipe for Curing Meat was in a Sonora review a couple of years ago. I've not read, and then When You're Done Being Happy is going to be in the Sonora review this fall. So these are both Sonora review pieces. When you are done being happy. When you are done being happy, kneel in front of the cabinet at the far end of the kitchen. It is the place you stored all the things you thought you might need someday but won't. Look behind the tortilla press you bought 20 years ago, right before fresh tortillas became widely available in the supermarkets, making it obsolete. Find the kit for baking a checkerboard birthday cake. It remains unopened, even though you often thought of it. But there was never enough time for a project of that magnitude. There was only the rush for a store-bought cake, or in a good year, homemade cupcakes with canned frosting. If the children cared, they kept that information to themselves. They are gone, but the checkerboard cake pans are still waiting for you. Take them out now. You have the time. When you are done being happy, think back to a list you made when you were 15 years old and so miserable you wanted to fly out of your body. When you made a poorly thought out attempt in that direction, you broke both ankles. The hospital psychiatrist told you to write a list of all the good things that lay ahead of you, to think of the future instead of relentlessly probing your open sores. Like what, you asked? Falling in love, the doctor said with some impatience in his voice. Marriage, children. You're shitting me, right? No, those are generally the things that make people happy. The next day you brought him a list. You pressed down so hard on the pencil it could be read with a finger. 1, I will not fall in love. 2, I will not marry. 3, I will not have children. The doctor glanced at the paper and put it down on his desk. He looked out the window and neither of you spoke for the rest of the session. When you are done being happy, go to the supermarket. Push the cart past all the groceries you ever bought there. The Special K, the Jones sausage, the breaded chicken cutlets, the things your husband once ate, the things he loved. Travel the aisles like a tourist. Admire the mountains of canned goods. Adjust a box of fusilli on the bottom shelf. Feel the cool air of the freezer bins on your face. Smile at the other shoppers. Buy nothing. Leave the empty cart in the parking lot at such an angle that the slightest breeze will send it rolling into a black Escalade. When you are done being happy, take up origami. Start with the pile of paper on your desk. Take a card, any card, fold it in half, then a quarter. Repeat until you have a tight little cube, and the only word left showing is sympathy. Why did you try to hurt yourself? The doctor had asked some weeks after the list incident. You were at the home by then. You were never told if your parents were unwilling to take you back or not allowed. It was a relief either way. I have nothing to say about that, you said. We need to make a plan of action, he said. Things you can do if those thoughts come back. What thoughts, you asked? He looked at his hands. In the same way that oncologists never say the word cancer to the cancerous, psychiatrists never say the word suicide to the suicidal. You understand, he said, there is no self-destruction without the destruction of others. I understand completely, you said. The Celts used to remove the brains of their dead kings and mix them with wine to make grain balls. They were their most powerful weapons. He had nothing to say about that. When you are done being happy, decide that life is not a list of events to be experienced, but a set of questions to be answered, and not the sort of questions you used to ask, like, is the eye really the only bloodless organ? You must ask yourself the big questions. Why are you here? What is the purpose of life? Do this while you bake the checkerboard cake. Halfway into the recipe, realize you neglected to buy all the ingredients you needed at the supermarket. Instead of contemplating the meaning of life, you must now ask the universe if baking soda will work just as well as baking powder. There is no answer, and that is your answer. When you are done being happy and the 3 sunken layers of the checkerboard cake are cooling on metal racks, pull out the box of stationery from the bottom drawer of your desk. Break the seal. This is the marbled paper your son brought back from Florence his junior year abroad, right before everyone started to use email and stopped writing letters. Make a new list on this obsolete sheet. 1. There is no hope of joy except in human relations. 2. There is no hope of joy except in human relations. 3. There is no hope of joy except in human relations. When you are done being happy, go feed the cake to the ducks at the pond. Toss the crumbs by the handful onto the surface of the water and watch the birds fly towards you from all directions. Pay attention to how they land heels first, spraying water into the air ahead of them. And notice how they keep their wings wide open to break their fall. Thank you.